Greetings, I'm Dike Rostant. Welcome to In-Depth. The Ministry of Youth Development and National Service continues to do work for the youth of our nation. Right now, we are going to be speaking with Christopher Thompson, a project associate, and we will be discussing Project Trending. All right, Mr. Christopher Thompson, how is you doing, sir?
I am good. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm very interested to hear a little more about the social media training program. But give me a little overview of Project Trending, thanks.
Okay, so Project Trending is a social media management training program, actually. So it's not just social media, it deals with social media management. So, in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ministry of Development and National Service identified that a lot of small businesses came about. And with these small businesses, a lot of them became online due to the COVID restrictions. And a lot of these small businesses use social media to promote their businesses. So what the ministry wanted to do, from our youth policy, we want to harness youth intellectual capacity and promote enterprise development and those kind of stuff. So the social media trending program is specifically geared towards young entrepreneurs, persons who started small businesses or interested in starting small businesses, to give them social media management training. So they will use these online platforms to sell products, promote their products, etc. So it will be looking at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Yes. So they will give you training basically on how to promote your program, how to develop a marketing strategy, and how to interact with the public from these platforms as well.
Okay, and is this something that is happening totally inside my DNS, or are there stakeholders or shareholders or partners that the ministry is working with to help implement this?
Well, the ministry actually contracted CTS College. So CTS College is dealing with the direct implementation. What the ministry will have done, so we come up with the framework of what we want to get done, but we would have sent out to different schools that we know have the program implemented, and what the ministry will have done is facilitated the training through these institutions. So CTS College is the supplier that we're using for this particular program. So they will be dealing with the full implementation. And then also when we do that, the certificate that comes along with the course will come with the accreditation that the college will have as well.
Say that again, please, sir. Say that again, please. Because as soon as you say school, I started to think about, okay, well, is there going to be a level of certification that goes with this training? Talk to me about that.
Right. So I know previously in ministries, when they do training, you need to get like in a facility or stuff. But what the ministry started to do, we started to use the schools to implement the training. But the good thing about it is the accreditation that comes with the school is the accreditation that you'll get along with the certificate. So the certificate that you're getting with this social media management course is from CTS College, which have the accreditation as well. So the certificate, they basically you could get a job after that in social media management as well.
And I like the fact that this seems to address more than one thing. And I think we'll also talk about the fact that as opposed to just being a business owner or having your own personal business, you can also branch out and do social media management for someone else. But
yes,
this is something that I could see a lot of people wanting to latch onto to be a part of. Who is the main target from the ministry's point of view?
The main target will be person between the ages of 18 to 35 years and who either have a business or are interested in becoming an entrepreneur. So this particular program is geared specifically towards persons who are interested in entrepreneurship. However, with the part with getting a job in the area, sometimes the businesses doesn't go as planned. But it's always good to have a twofold plan. Whereas when you have the certificate, you have a backup plan as well. But this particular program is geared actually towards entrepreneurship.
What kind of timelines are we looking at in terms of is the cohort filled? And speaking about cohort, how many people are you looking at? How many people CTS going to be training?
Right. So the training actually started. The training has actually started. We are currently training 200 young persons, or as we like to call it, budding entrepreneurs. So we currently have 200 persons engaged in the training right now. The training is 7 weeks long, and they have completed 3 weeks thus far.
So is it a matter of saying, okay, well, different people are moving at different speeds, so you carry them where they are, or you said, okay, well, there's a specific timeline, 7 weeks. What is it? How is the course designed? Is it modular? Can people come back to it after? What are the logistics of that?
All right, so the course will have modules. The modules will be based on the social media platform. You just need basic knowledge to enter into the course. The course will be every week, and every week you will have a different module. So it's not at different pace. Everybody basically starting at the same level and moving with the same pace. What will happen? They will deliver the modules every week, and then you will have access to the information on the Google Drive after. After that, at the end of the program, you'll have to write an exam to get the certification in the course.
So are there any markers while the course is taking place to say, okay, well, I'm meeting these objectives, I need to buckle down a little more? Can people tap into that Google Drive while things are happening? Because, sometimes if you don't use it, you lose it. So in terms of
Correct.
being able to work on their craft while they're learning, working towards that certification.
Right. So what we tend to do in the ministry, we tend to do courses that is hands-on. So the training is not necessarily theoretical, but the training itself is embedded into having tasks right through the duration of the training. So with every class and with every platform, it will have certain posts you have to make or certain artwork that you have to develop in that kind of way. So every week you will have a different challenge to get done, and that will all go towards your final grading to get the certification as well. So you have to do it in order to understand, in order to move forward, and you'll have the lecturer there for the interaction. It will also have you have constant access. The students have constant access to the Google Drive, so they can follow up with the information. And then I know CTS has their program manager and myself that works directly with them. So if any kind of issues, any questions, you have access to the lecturer, you have access to the information. So it's honestly just getting the information and moving forward every week.
You make me feel as though if everything is being put on the plate. I know they say you could bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But it seems as though you'll have made it very hard for you to not do well in this course. But you spoke about image creation. Does that mean you have editing tools that you're training people in as well?
Basic editing tools. With social media management, you have a lot of people just look at it as what we currently know, getting a graphic designer to do your graphics or getting somebody to tell you this is the correct way to go. What CTS College has done, they have identified different websites that they are also training you in and also telling you about. So one class I sat in, the lecturer was telling us about a site that you can go on to see who is the most trending influencer right now. So exactly. So for me now, I will say, okay, the most trending influencers who I'm hearing about the most, but via your social media engagement, they are now giving you the equipment. They are now equipping you with that information. So, let me go on this site, which is collecting real-time data on not just how much likes they get, but their page interaction. So honestly, the course itself is covering every single base for these young persons. So at the end of the course, they will honestly understand and be ready to take over social media again. Because we all know young people have their grasp on social media already.
No, you're talking some kind of things, Mr. Thompson, and you have me wondering, even though I am on the upper tier outside of the age group that you're talking about, I want to see will something like this be offered again? people who are now hearing about it, how did people latch onto it in the first place? Where did you source these individuals from? What was that process like?
Okay, so what the ministry does, we also use social media. So we advertise all our programs on our social media platforms. We advertise our programs in the newspaper. So what we tell all young people to do is follow the ministry's social media platforms. Once you follow the ministry's social media platforms, you will have the real-time information on when to apply, what is the deadline for applications, and you'll just have all the information there. Just follow all the social media pages, follow them on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, Ministry of Youth Development and National Service. You can even search our hashtag MyDNS and you'll get all the information. So young persons will have seen the advertising into either the paper or the Facebook pages or the Instagram page. And a lot of young persons saw it because it was really oversubscribed as well. We had thousands of applications.
And with that, I want to talk about how it is you whittle down to have that first cohort of 200, but we do that on the other side of the conversation. We are speaking with Christopher Thompson, Project Associate, MyDNS, the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service. Stay with us, we return with more. Welcome back. We are going in depth on MyDNS, the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service. We're talking about Project Trending, and we're doing so with Christopher Thompson, Project Associate. And so on the other side of the break, Mr. Thompson, you just spoke about the fact that there were thousands of applications. The Project Trending was oversubscribed. What kind of filters, especially since we're talking about social media management, what sort of filters do you use to go through and say, okay, well, these are the individuals who are going to be the flagship bearers, the first cohort?
All right, so what will happen is it will start off at the age group. So although you advertise 18 to 35 persons who are not in the age group will still apply. So those will be the first persons that are eliminated. And then it will go down to who the course is targeting. So in particular, this course is targeting you have to either have a business or be interested in becoming an entrepreneur. And you will use the questionnaire that we put out to gather that information from you. So that will filter down the list as well. After that, it will be filtered down. What we tend to do, we tend to use the ratios. So we use the male to female ratio, how many female applicants, how many male applicants, and we use that ratio throughout for all the cohorts. So we continue the ratio of application. What we also use is this particular course was catered, like I said, to persons who are entrepreneurs and who are interested in being entrepreneurs. So if we had 200 spaces, so 100 of those persons are young people that have businesses already, and the other 100 will be persons who are interested in starting businesses. You understand? So when it doesn't reach down to that, it will then come down to basically a first come, first serve basis. Because for some reason, it doesn't end up back to just the 200. We still have extra on the application list of persons who are shortlisted, but they will then come down to who applied first.
I'm not gonna say, talk to me, because I want to hear when they take all the people who too old, the people who too young, the people who this and that. I want to hear what's those final little things, because I'm watching that Libra ring on your hand too. I'm waiting to see you the person making those decisions. We're gonna ball Mr. Thompson too wicked. So in terms of like that first come, first serve, okay, well, I think it's really equitable as well.
What I could definitely say is that we try 100% to facilitate as much persons as we can. And it's so good to see that we have such an overwhelming response to the programs that the ministry is currently putting out there. So I tell young persons to not get discouraged if you were not entered into the course this time. Just look for it, because what we tend to do is we call ourselves youth ambassadors. We want to be youth ambassadors. We want to champion youth development. So we use the data of saying that we had 4,000 or 5,000 plus applications for this course to show the need for the course. The more the young persons express the interest in the particular course or the particular area, is the ministry notices that as well. So we try and so we know that we have an overall response for this particular course, so we will be trying to bring it back in the next fiscal year, that kind of thing. So it's not that you'll miss out. Trust me, something is coming again. It may not be this particular course, it may be this particular course, but it's definitely something targeted towards what youth development, what we are currently doing. So trust me, you're not missing out. Don't have to get vexed with Mr. Thompson. We definitely use the data, we use all the information to ensure that we target all young persons. We are mandated by the National Youth Policy and by the government of Trinidad and Tobago with youth development for all ages between 10 to 35. So once you're in that age bracket, trust me, there is some type of developmental program or assistance available for you.
I like the fact that they say here, oh, don't call Mr. Thompson name, you know. Also, but I really like the narrative of saying, okay, well, you didn't miss out. You just didn't get through yet. But
Correct.
talk to me about the implementation of the course, please. How is it taking place? Yes, we know the facilitating partner is CTS College, but at the same time, are people going to CTS College? Is it happening virtually? What is that like?
Well, currently it's up, but this particular cohort is virtual. This particular course is virtual. So what they will do, they will log on to the Zoom platform, and they're also using WhatsApp to submit the information to them. But basically, the course is on Zoom. So it have different times and different days. We have Thursday, we have 2 on a Saturday, and we have 1 on a Monday. So Thursdays and Mondays, they are from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And on Saturday, we have 9 a.m. and then we have 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So it's fully online. But like I said, I know CTS have their ways of confirming. You know, some young person may want to log on and don't be part of the course. But they ensure that you have your camera on and you have that interaction there.
And is it a matter of saying, because I hear you saying, okay, well, that one day there may be 2 classes. Is it that the full 200 are part of the class every single class, or are there like smaller classes that you can be a part of this one and then that is repeated?
We have smaller classes. So those different times are all different classes. So the 200 is broken up into the smaller classes. Because, you know, lecturer-student engagement, when you have 200, it's very hard to ensure that you get your question there.
Well, that was going to be my question, because there are some people, like, I know some teachers, they say, I remember the ones who are very good and the ones who are very bad. But have some who just kind of be below the radar and they're not giving trouble, they're not really asking a question, so they just kind of drift.
Correct.
So having those smaller numbers, like you said, that student lecturer ratio, so that you can have that engagement, have questions answered. Because sometimes the person who will be asking questions all the time, they may get a little more attention if that class is large.
Yeah. So what CTS tends to do, which we like at the ministry, is the lecturer tend to engage you at different parts of the class. So it's not only you asking a question, but he also asks you questions as well. But what we tend to do at the ministry, we don't necessarily try and get classes bigger than 50, because after that in an online class, you're really going to miss a lot of the students. You know, so our classes don't exceed 50, and then we also have other programs with in-person classes as well, but we don't try to make the number big. So you're not going to be in a class with a lot of persons, you know, so you're going to get that engagement with your lecturer or your tutor, that kind of thing.
I didn't ask the question. What's the cost of this, Mr. Thompson, for the people registering?
Oh, because I'm going to say, well, of course, we pay the ministry paying. For the young persons, it is totally free.
Say it again, please.
The young persons, it is totally free.
And with that in mind, where sometimes when all you have to pay is just attention,
people
kind of fall through the cracks at times because they didn't really have to put out that much. So is there any follow-up that you all are going to be doing to say, okay, well, the ministry not just throwing money behind people and then they say, well, the class was cool?
Well, this is what you will get a call from Mr. Thompson for. What I do, I will monitor the attendance of the young persons and I will call to follow up as to what is happening. Because we understand, though, that sometimes you want to commit, but some persons have different situations that they may start off today and something else might happen. So what we tend to do in the first 2 weeks, if it is you dropped out of the course or you didn't show up, I will call to find out what is going on. I will determine, you will tell me, and we will both sit down and determine if it is you can continue with the course, and if not, I will try to replace them with someone. But after the 3rd week has passed, what we will do, we will tend to call you and try and see how we could facilitate you in finishing the course. So it's honestly, what I like to say, we take in the resources and we are resting it in your hand. Even if it falls out your hand, we're picking it up and we're putting it back in your hand. It's just now up to you to push through and finish the course and take the information and use it wisely.
We want to thank you for taking the time to share with us, Mr. Thompson, because this is very important information. And even that nugget of saying, okay, well, keep on trying, keep on looking at the website, keep on looking at the digital platforms, because you may find something that you didn't realize that you wanted, but at the same time is even more in line with the thing than the thing that you didn't get through with. So thank you for your time. And on behalf of the entire team at TTT, I'm Dike Rostant. This has been In Depth. Thank you so much for joining us.